Count of 1, 2, 3. Hello, early friends, and welcome back to Max Talks about writing advice and stuff. Today, I have a very special guest with me, LadyKittyLynn.
That's me.
She broke into my house.
Yep.
I couldn't do anything about it.
I'm stealing everything.
Yeah, even the spotlight. Yeah, and my chair.
Yep.
She's sitting on my fancy chair. I'm sitting on
already
a
done
wooden
that.
chair.
Ha.
My butt is on a wooden chair. It's so unfair. This is my show, right? Like, in any other talk show, like, the guests don't sit at, like, the fancy desk, right?
The guest sit in the whole couch.
Actually, I don't see TV. Maybe they do. I don't know. Regardless of that, what are we here for today? I've gotten actually several questions about having real people as inspiration for your characters. So I thought, you know what? You broke into my house. Might as well make you work for something. You know, let's actually... I'm trash. I'm so mean to you. It's because she's so adorable. So I thought, you know what? Let's bring her here and let's actually talk about, you know, our thoughts on using real people as inspiration for characters.
Yay.
Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter.
That's me.
Dumbledore!
Hermione.
I love that. You're doing like a question mark, like
That's
Hermione?
what she does. She's like, it's like awkward because Dumbledore's naked.
Oh, that's
Dumbledore pops up naked, and then Hermione's like, Hermione.
Oh man,
I've watched that too many times.
Harry Potter puppets. Go look it up.
Harry Potter Puppet Pals. In case you don't already know how that thing
Yeah,
somehow.
exactly. Somehow you've stayed away from the internet long enough to find me, but not that.
Who knows?
Yeah. Okay, so
you're young enough.
So let's start today's discussion first by talking about our personal experience with using real people as inspiration. Kitty, have you ever done this?
Yep.
Would you like to share a little bit?
Sure. So, when I was young and had no money, I would just write people stories for birthday gifts and stuff.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Yeah, it was okay. It took like months to finish, so it was never like on my birthday. But,
yeah, but
you know.
that's still it's the thought that counts, right?
My artist friends did that, you know, draw
that's
characters.
really cute.
But yeah, no, I would write them stories about themselves and use them as the protagonist, obviously.
Aww.
So I've done that multiple times. And I've also just like inserted real characters, real people into stories as like background characters for some very old stories when I was like 12, 13.
Yes.
So a lot of my
earliest writings.
A lot of my use of this comes from when I was very little, in like middle school. So I haven't done it much lately. I'll be totally honest.
I think it's one of those things that you start doing that at, you know, in your early writing years, and later on. Because for me, I don't think I've ever really done that, like, seriously, where, like, I take this person and I take elements of them as the inspiration for a character later on in a story, but I have found that sometimes I'm out in public, and somebody says something, and I'm like, oh, that's a really good line, or somebody behaves in a particular way, and I just kind of take that. It's not exactly taking the person, but it's like, you know, wow, I love that line, let me write it down, because it would probably come in handy someday.
Yep.
One of the other things that I wanted to bring up really quickly, because I think this kind of relates to that, when you play video games, do you find yourself making yourself as the lead character?
Almost always.
Oh.
Yeah, I usually make myself if there's a girl option.
Which there should be.
Which there always should be a range of gender options.
Yes.
And if there's like, if it's binary girl boy, if I'm boy, I have a male version of myself that I essentially make. So I kind of just
Casey.
Casey, he's a legend one day.
There's amazing stories about Casey.
Yeah, so I either make me or Casey.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's basically versions of me. And there's like, I do that in video games, but not in like tabletop role-playing games.
Okay, yeah.
In those, I usually make characters. So it's it depends on the medium, I suppose.
Yeah. See, I was wondering, because I feel like this may be like I don't want to say like an upbringing thing or like a personality trait thing, but like I've never found myself, and it's funny because like growing up, and you know, because when you grow up, you think that the things you do are like normal. So when I was growing up and I encountered other nerds who played video games, I was surprised when I realized that other people made themselves. I've never ever made myself. Like I played RPGs and never named like the protagonist myself. Well, except maybe Pokemon, in which it's basically like I think that's a little bit of an exception, really. Yeah, because like who else are you playing as? But like Mass Effect, I always came in like with the role-playing mind, because, you know, I'm a huge fan of role-playing games. So it's kind of like, you know, I want to play a character in this world, not exactly myself. So I was wondering, you know, I think it's a really interesting point to make, because I've found that, you know, the people who have used more of an inspiration, you know, like to, you know, place themselves in this world as well. Kind of like playing both sides.
Yeah.
Taking people into your world and putting yourself in other worlds.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, just, a nice little insight. Now, actually, before we started recording, we were actually talking about our different points, and we have actually 2 different pieces of advice for people who are looking into or considering the idea of using a real-life person, whether it is relatives or themselves or a celebrity, as an inspiration point for a character. And, how about you take it away, Kitty? What do you think is your recommendation for anybody considering this?
My advice is pretty simple. Never base that character on somebody that you don't like, or like a celebrity that you aren't necessarily fond of.
Yeah.
Because it's always going to turn out as it's obvious that you don't like this character, and it's coming across in the narrative that, everything bad just happens to them, and like obviously even like everybody doesn't like them.
Yeah. And as somebody who, if you've been following my channel, you know how I feel about black-white morality. And I recognize that feeling where it's like you're reading something and I'm like so like the author does not like this person.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to hide that. Especially, like if you're doing it it shows. It's hard to hide your own feelings in the act of writing.
And especially if it's like somebody that you feel really bitter about, like like an ex-friend or something, like it's really obvious.
Yeah. And actually, I didn't say this before we started this mini segment of it, but we're not like pro or against it. We're just giving you our advices because we kind of find that like it's because we don't exist in a vacuum. The people we come in contact with help us create stories. Like there's a really fun story about like how J.K. Rowling was inspired to write Hagrid, which is like she ran into like this huge like motorcycle
like biker dude in a bar who started talking about the plants he was growing.
Yeah, and of course, she didn't like take that entire person and dropping in her book, but it's like the idea of that and the inspiration, and I can absolutely relate to hearing something silly or seeing a person act in a particular way and thinking to myself, that's good, I'm taking that, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. As for my piece of advice, and again, I come into stories because I want to see the struggle and I want to see different points of view and I want to be able to understand characters. That is why I want to, be careful if you're basing the main protagonist on yourself. Do not allow you yourself to keep you from making the story reach its full potential. Because again, you kind of I don't know if you can tell it's pretty obvious when like the protagonist is the main character because one, they don't have flaws. Everyone likes them. They get everything their own way, and there may be struggle, but there's never a sense of danger. And there's a couple of things, particularly older fantasy stuff that is just like it rings with this so much that it's just like it's impossible for me to not see it.
And a good example of this, if you like to torture yourself but also want to see some good examples of both of our points, is My Immortal.
No, now they heard it. No, Kitty, you don't say its name.
Say it all the time.
It is the fanfic which must not be named.
Too late.
My Immortal is a fanfic based on Harry Potter, and it's it's considered to be one of the worst and best fanfics of all time. It's so bad, it's good and awful.
Yep. But it does have examples of don't play out your hate in your own story because it's really obvious in that one. And then don't base your main character on yourself because it's really obvious in that one.
And, if you want to have a laugh, go check out My Immortal. It's
free on
bad and all. It's free. Yeah, I am thinking of maybe reading it once I do a whole video series because I'm reading the Harry Potter books, and once I'm done with that and I make my points, I may just like bring her here and then we're gonna read it together and then just get drunk and slowly descend into madness.
That's what My Immortal does to you.
Yeah.
Never do the My Immortal drinking game. You will die. You will die. Even if you do it with water, you will.
You look so serious.
Do it.
You will die. And finally, before we wrap up this video, we want to talk about like the big elephant in the room that we haven't addressed, and that is that if you do take elements of the real world as inspiration for your story, in this case people, we would like to kindly recommend you to never, ever, ever say that inside of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's
not in the book either.
Yeah.
Not in the,
nowhere.
Special things.
Nowhere, yeah.
Okay.
Like, let's keep it your secret.
It's your little secret.
Yeah, it's your little secret. And you may be thinking to yourself, oh, but like, nothing bad can happen. There's actually like, there's been lawsuits actually recently with people who have actually described their characters as certain celebrities. And, unless you want to get hit with, $1 million lawsuit, you may want to stay away from, you know, describing your protagonist that's looking like Chris Evans. That's not wise.
Yeah.
Also, description, you know, it's like...
Description's nice.
Yeah, you know.
My Immortal also has an example of this.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Am I gonna have in the advanced reading section, My Immortal? Am I gonna have to link them to My Immortal? This is the worst episode ever.
You're welcome.
You can forward your hate to youtube.com/user/LadyKittyLynn.
Probably.
Yeah. Go forward all of your hate to her. Now, before we go, Kitty actually has one more peril that she wants to talk about, and he goes a little like this.
This is about, you know, using your friends in the narrative. And usually you're gonna want you know, your friends, you want to tell them like, well, I put you in the story. But if they don't like the characterization that you've given for them, or the plot lines, or the romantic interest or something, there's going to be some conflict. And you also have to remember that even if it's sad, you may no longer be friends with them in like a year, 2 years, 5 years. Yeah,
that's the unfortunate truth, but I'm really happy that you brought that up.
It's going to be like awkward, even just for yourself to reread the story and be like, I'm not friends with them and it ended really badly. I don't know what to do with them now. Absolutely. And then you might take it out and hate them. So it's
like assigning yourself a rain check for like, you know, disappointment later on.
Yeah.
That's why we want to like steer you in the direction of not entirely drop people in your story. Consider them just as points of inspiration, like the story seeds that I put on my blog. They're not the entire stories, merely just a starting point, you know? Kind of like also like the Hagrid example, you know, like a big tough like biker dude talking about his plans.
Yeah, exactly. And if your friend is like this super girly girl but really good at sports or something, you're like, that's a cool archetype.
Yeah, that's cool.
Let's put that in there.
Yeah, and it could be like, you know, this character kind of, you know, it was inspired by you, but it's not you. Yeah, and exactly. that to me seems like a really nice balancing. And it's also
like it's a compliment too, because it's you thought of me enough to put sort of like someone like me in your story. It's not me.
I think that's actually like a way better way to go about doing things.
Yeah.
So really quickly in summary, we want to let you know that if you are indeed considering using a real person as inspiration for one of your characters or an element in your story, consider first to not do things out of hate, and also if you are putting yourself in the story, be fair to the character, you know, or like, if the story requires that this character goes through, you know, awfulness.
Oh god, you started.
Oh no! Oh my god!
Wait, sports quit.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Kitty. And finally, remember to come in as inspiration and not entirely dropping somebody into your story. It's like a more safer way to go about doing things, primarily from a legal standpoint and also from a storytelling standpoint, because it gives you more control. The last thing you want is to tell your friend, oops, I killed you in my story. Or, oops, I killed the character that was mildly inspired by you. It gives you more control as a writer because, again, you don't have a lot of control over your story, and your story will evolve and change as you write it. So you don't want to be set in a situation where it's like, you know, well, my friend wanted his character to be like this in the story, and then it doesn't happen like that, you know? Again, keep yourself away from signing rain checks for disappointment later on.
Yeah, writing yourself into a corner.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. The eyebrow waggle, it's costing me so much money, no, stop it! Okay. Regardless of that, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, this nice little quick video about us talking about, using B-roll people as inspiration. I hope that it proved useful, and if anything, gave you 2 different other perspectives on this very same matter. If you have comments that you'd like to let us know, or your own opinions on the subject, let us know in the comments below. And aside from that, like, subscribe, let us know what you thought, tweet at us, and by the way, KittyLynn recently started her channel.
Yep, that's the thing.
You can find her, there should be a link in the description below, or just go to, LadyKittyLynn, look for her
or on YouTube. Your front page.
Yeah, or on my YouTube page, there's like Max and Friends bar. You can follow her and my artist, Blakesworth.
Yeah, we're both cool.
Yeah, she's like the cutest of the two. And that's because Blake's a zombie.
Well. Zombies can be cute, I guess.
With all of that silliness out of the way, I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for spending a little bit of your day with us, and we will be seeing you soon. Mwah! Is there anything you would like the audience to know in this outro?
Cause the haters gonna hate, and the gamers gonna game. And we're gonna play some Walking Dead and cry our eyes out. Cause it's the finale. Oh, whoa.
Hermione!
Hermione!
Dumbledore!
Ron Weasley!
Severus, Snape.
Harry Potter. Ooh, Harry Potter. That's me. Voldemort. Voldemort.
Boom, boom, boom.
Go!